What's going on, pursuers? Welcome to The Pursuit of Calling, the podcast that provides you with the strategies and tools needed to successfully discover and pursue your calling. Whether it's through inspiring stories, thought-provoking interviews, or quick, insightful episodes on personal growth and development, we've got you covered. I'm your host, Thomas Carney. Enjoy the episode. Morgan Housel, the author of The Psychology of Money, says, money's greatest intrinsic value, and this can't be overstated, is its ability to give you control over your time. So today we're diving into what real financial freedom means, not just stacking cash, but using it to design a life that's truly yours. Recently, I started leading a Financial Peace University course, or co-leading a course. Last week was my first time leading the class, and it was great. It was fantastic. There's still some things that I need to work on, some areas I can improve, and especially when it comes to a group setting, because I think you guys know that I'm a one-on-one coach, and some of the skills are transferable, but not all of them. So, but it's just kind of a fun thing that I'm doing that I'm hoping to then be able to transfer these skills into future masterminds that I have, like I've mentioned before, on the 15 Valuable Laws of Growth, like Atomic Habits, and be able to do that in the future. So stay tuned for for that kind of stuff. The second session talks a lot about paying off your debt and cutting up your credit cards. It's probably one of the most, if not the most controversial topic of all of Financial Peace University. And not that I'm going to be telling you today to cut up your credit cards, even though personally I believe that you should. But I do want to go over a few main points with you about how to be truly financially free and how this fits into pursuing your calling well. You know, back whenever I wasn't really taking my life seriously, that flowed into how I managed my finances. In other words, I didn't. I think it helped a little bit that I didn't necessarily like spending money, but whenever I did spend money that I wasn't planning to spend, I didn't have anything to go back on, didn't have anything to refer to that would cause me to think about the money that I was spending. Whenever those random impulse buys popped into my head at the store, I had nothing to check them off, nothing to check them, no budget, no plan. One really funny example not funny, but a good example that I like to share with people a lot of the time is, I don't know now, like 4 years ago, I decided that I really wanted a new flat screen TV. So I bought a LG 55-inch OLED TV. And for those of you who don't know what OLED means, that's okay. You don't need to know that. That's not important. But it's such a nice TV. I still have it. And however, this TV cost $1,500. I put it on a credit card because I didn't actually want to spend the money. I put it on a credit card to make that transaction not hurt as much. But then spent the next 3 months making $500 payments, which did hurt a lot. It hurt a little bit over a longer period of time. I guess that's what you would say. So like that's my fun, like kind of funny, but also what I like to share whenever I talk about like why I am. I said earlier, like cut up your credit cards because they turn into use cases like that. Anyway, financial freedom isn't just about having money. It's about knowing why you have it, how to use it, and when to use it. Money is a tool, and just like any tool, you can use it well or you can use it incorrectly. And depending on who you ask, what incorrect actually means can differ a lot. But today, I want to be super, super practical. Because here's the deal. Like we talked about earlier, financial freedom isn't just about stacking cash, it's about building a life that's truly yours. And if that's the goal, why wouldn't you want to manage your money well? I think this is something Dave Ramsey talks about really well, honestly. He starts with a simple but powerful step, saving a $1,000 starter emergency fund. Then right after do that, you start paying off your debt. You go after your debt with everything you've got. That step right there, that's huge. Because let's be honest, debt holds a lot of people back from living the life they wish they could. It weighs you down and it limits your options. But if you're spending your money today in a way that gives you more freedom tomorrow, in my book, that's wise. That's wisdom. Now, look, I'm not saying you shouldn't have any fun money. You should enjoy life. But if you're so deep in the hole, that you don't know how you're going to get out, aka you have a lot of debt, you might have to sacrifice some of that fun money for a season. And yeah, that's the hard truth, but it's a worthwhile one to say. Being wise is harder than being foolish. There are a lot more people doing foolish things with their money than wise ones. So how can you be wise? First, I'd say by setting up a budget. Figure out where your money is going instead of wondering where it went after every single payday. Every Dollar, which is by Ramsey Solutions, is a great option and it's free. I've used the paid version for years now and I love it. I promise you, this is not a plug. I just really like the software. And as a software developer, I think that means a lot because I've used a lot of crappy software out there. And I know there's a lot of crappy software out there that a lot of people use. And Every Dollar is not one of them. It's intuitive. They're always updating it. And I don't think I'm ever going to stop using it, at least not as of right now. Maybe if there's ever something new that comes out, maybe I will then. But you can get that link in the show notes. Again, not a plug. I don't get a kickback. That's just me trying to provide you with a tool that will help you with your finances. So we've talked about why you have your money, to create a life that reflects your values and your calling, to design that life that is truly yours. And it starts with clearing out your debt because you can't build something strong on shaky ground. We've also talked about the how by creating a budget that helps you tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. But what about when? When do you know it's the right time to spend? When do you actually use your money? That one's a little bit more nuanced. But honestly, your budget, if you have that set up, then you already have your answer. If it's in the budget, you've already made the decision. If it's not, then maybe it's a no for now. That's the beauty of a plan. It takes the emotion out of the moment. It takes the emotion out of that transaction, and you're not relying on impulse. Instead, you're following your values. And I think in my notes but I just said that the beauty of the plan is that it takes emotion out of the process. But the funny thing is a lot of the times, like, emotion can make us spend, but can also cause us to save and hold on to what we have. And the budget, again, helps you dictate where that money can go. If you want to be more frugal, then great. If you want to be able to give more, great. You can, but you're also in debt. You can give. You want to give if you're a Christian, you want to tithe to your local church that 10% of your income. You budget for that. You give of your first fruits. You give that first 10% off the top of your income, and you budget the rest. But you can also budget for other giving opportunities if that's what you want to do. That's the beauty of having a budget and a plan. So how does this tie back to your calling? Because I haven't really mentioned calling a whole bunch yet, and it's been 9 minutes, almost a whole length of a usual episode that I do. And I haven't really talked about calling all that much. And God doesn't call us to chaos. He calls us to stewardship. I know I'm getting to why this has to do with our calling in a second. And stewardship isn't just about tithing or giving. It's about managing everything he's entrusted to us. Our time, our gifts, our relationships, and yes, our money. Financial freedom is a fruit of faithful stewardship. Now, if you're not a Christian, I just said a lot of Christian-y things. But I think I said it before. If you want to live a life that is truly yours, why wouldn't you want to manage your money well? And also, if you want to live a life of generosity, if you want to live a life of being able to, like Dave Ramsey says, live like no one else, so you can live now, so you can live and give like no one else later, why wouldn't you want to manage your money well? And the other thing is, when we manage what we have well, it opens doors. We don't even know that it existed before. Like for me, like maybe I get to now, when I steward my resources, steward my time well, and I steward my money well, I get to lead a financial peace university course, and I love it. Maybe you get to lead a small group. Maybe you get to launch that dream business. Maybe then you get to start giving radically, or simply being fully present with your family instead of stressed about bills. In Luke chapter 16, verse 10 in the Bible, Jesus said, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can be trusted with much." Think about that. If you can't steward what you've already have, how will God trust you with more? Now, I'm not specifically talking about money here, but about all that God has already given you. All that you have already been given. And again, if you're not a Christian and you're listening to it and you've made it 12 minutes into this episode, let me talk to you now. Now, yes, you hear my heart behind. Yeah, I believe every penny that I have is a gift from God. However, if you even take it in a secular mindset and you say every penny that I have, if I don't steward it well now, even if I don't have a lot of money, if I don't steward it well now, how do you think you'll act if you were to get more money, or were to get even other different responsibilities? If you can't steward what you have well, you're going to do the same thing with more. You're going to if you steward a little, if you already stewarding, if you're already utilizing the money that you have poorly, you're going to do the same thing with more. If you have so you have a responsibility to yourself and the other people in your lives to steward the resources that you have well and with excellence. I believe everyone's calling is meant to help others. Your calling isn't for you. However, if you don't steward what God has given you well, the calling that is on your life, then how is he going to trust you to steward other responsibilities? Me asking that question, I feel like I have to rephrase it. Just like how you manage your money, just like how you should manage your money well, and how you should manage your calling well. If you don't manage your money well, then, well, you're probably not going to have it for very long, or your life is never going to be the life the vision that whenever your life will never get close to the vision that you have for yourself. And same thing is true about your calling. You can steward your resources, including your money, in a way that feed into the calling that is on your life. And maybe that's giving to certain nonprofits and budgeting for that, so you can make sure that you're stewarding your resources in a way that feed into that calling that is on your life, into the purpose that is on your life. Think about that. If you steward your money well now, in keeping your calling, your purpose in mind, then maybe later when you have more money, you'll be able to do even more than you ever thought you could. You'll be able to give more. You'll be able to do more. Maybe travel more, go on missions trips, or I don't know, just be radically generous with the money that you've been given in a way that aligns with your calling. That makes sense? Well, I have a couple of challenges for you guys, some things I want you to do based off today's conversation. One, I want you to make a budget. We talked about it a lot, this episode, but I don't want you to make a perfect one. It's going to be realistic, and you can use every dollar or whatever tool you'll want to use, whatever tool you'll actually stick with. That could be a spreadsheet even. If you love spreadsheets, use a spreadsheet. If you want to use every dollar, use every dollar. And then next, you set up your budget, you save your $1,000, and then you start paying off your debt, smallest to largest. That's called the debt snowball. And that's something that Dave Ramsey talks about a lot in Baby Step 2, and says starting with the smallest debt that you have and working your way up as you pay them off is the best way to pay off debt. And I'm going to link an article in the show notes where you can learn more about what the debt snowball is and how it works. So, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, and maybe you're thinking now that you actually would like some more help with understanding how you should personally be managing your finances so in that area of your life you're living and stewarding your calling well, you can sign up for a free calling coaching session, a free introductory session in the show notes, another link in the show notes. And we'll be able to have a conversation about your calling, the vision you have for your life, what your goals are, and maybe even start creating a plan for you to live out that life that you feel called to live. All right, guys, if you like this episode, go ahead and share it out on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you use social media. And don't forget to give this episode and the podcast a 5-star review. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And keep pursuing your calling well. I'll see you next time.